I was only expecting a conversation of, since I had experience and you were just starting, I thought you just wanted to talk about how to get into the next step. I swear to God, that's what I thought.
That's what you thought. You thought I was reaching out to you for consulting.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's it.
And then halfway through lunch, what did you receive?
A business partner proposal that I was not expecting at all.
Sejam bem-vindos para mais um episódio do Imigrante Rico Podcast com seu host, Thiago Prado. Aqui, bata um papo cabeça com imigrantes que conquistaram sucesso na terra do tio Sam.
Fala, turma! Bem-vindo a mais um episódio do Imigrante Rico com seu host, Thiago Prado. Esse pod hoje é literalmente pode tudo. Ele é portanhol, ele é portenglish, ele é spanglish. Vai ser uma salada de fruta. Esse episódio é um episódio muito especial, fora da curva, faz parte de um segmento onde eu irei entrevistar os sócios da BRZ. Primeiro, entrevistei o Rodolfo Sanz, todo mundo já viu o episódio 101, 102. Se você não viu, volta lá a entrevista. Esse episódio é com a minha sócia Monica Adwani, porto-riquenha, que tem uma história muito linda. E qual que é a ideia? Qual que é o propósito? O propósito é, literalmente, desvendar os fatores que levaram os imigrantes a terem sucesso na terra do tio Sam. Se você não está preparado para tocar o teu negócio, escalar o teu negócio, começar o teu negócio, começa a assistir episódio 101, 102, é um ótimo lugar. E aí depois você vai lá pro primeiro com a Verônica e volta e assiste tudo de novo. É uma biblioteca de histórias para você. E olha, esse episódio não seria possível sem a BRZ Seguros, o patrocinador oficial do Imigrante Rico. A BRZ é a corretora número 1 dos brasileiros na terra do tio Sam. A BRZ trabalha com mais de 40 empresas de seguro, atuando em vários estados. Eu não vou nem listar porque são tantos aqui. E se você precisa de seguro de carro, de casa, de empresas, qualquer tipo de seguro, entra no site da BRZ, o link está aqui embaixo que eles vão ajudar você. Vamos ao que interessa então? Eu quero apresentar vocês a essa mulher super profissional que está sempre sorrindo até nos piores momentos. Olha que sorriso lindo. Bem-vinda, Mônica, bem-vinda.
Bem-vindo, Thiago, parabéns, obrigada.
É um prazer imenso te ter aqui comigo hoje.
Não, prazer também. Eu não sabia que isso vai fazer em português, eu creia que vai fazer em inglês.
Quem disse que a gente vai fazer em português? A gente só faz a introdução para atraí-los.
Tá bom.
Agora que a gente te pegou no pulo do gato, vamos aprender inglês?
Vamos aprender inglês.
Dale. ¿Podemos hablar español también?
Podemos hablar español.
¿Portañol?
Portañol, muy buena en portañol.
Portañol me encanta.
Sim.
Ok, portañol era melhor. Vamos lá então. Moniquita.
Sim.
Are you really Puerto Rican?
Yes.
Were you
I am
born there?
fully Puerto Rican.
You know, you're always smiling. I never seen you angry. You never broke anything.
Yeah.
You don't fit into the Puerto Rican stereotype.
No, that's because you met me after the, improvement and the coach. Yeah, and everything. So anyone that met me before that time could see the Puerto Rican in me. Now I'm a little bit more mellow.
You're more chill, more happy, and all of that.
I learned my lesson.
So you were born in Puerto Rico?
I was born in Puerto Rico.
What part of Puerto Rico?
The south part of Puerto Rico.
So you're a south side girl?
Mm-hmm, south side.
All right.
Del campo.
Del campo.
Mm-hmm.
¿A dónde?
In Juana Díaz.
Juana Díaz. Mm-hmm. What do we find in Juana Díaz?
Juana Díaz is considered the city of the three kings. So in Juana Díaz, it's called the Bethlehem of Puerto Rico.
The Bethlehem of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, and this very recognized by a famous drink that is called Mavi.
Mm-hmm.
So there you will find very happy people. A lot of tradition when it comes to, Jesus and the three kings and the story and the honoring of that. A rich culture of amazing food.
I like that.
And great drinks that are made from local fruits that grow within the area. You can't find that fruit anywhere else in Puerto Rico.
That is amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So basically, you were there your entire early life. You have siblings, I assume? Brothers, sisters?
I have a brother.
Okay.
He is 10 years younger than me.
Oh, so you're the older sister.
I am the oldest.
So you're the bad
only.
influence. Or the good influence. What would you say?
I don't know. We'll need to ask them.
All right.
Yeah.
Wait, all right. Next one. next podcast. We got to ask them.
You ask my family. I don't know how I'm considered right now. Probably a bad influence on my teens and a good influence now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you were raised there, mom and dad, South Side. Mm-hmm. You lived there your entire life, I assume.
Yeah, running with the cows,
Running with the cows. Tell us more.
I love the horses. My family always was very hands-on. So, work with the earth, work with the overall, they were a very simple and humble family. We all live in the same place. So you will be like, I'm going on the bicycle, and then I will visit all of my 12, or I have, between my mom and my dad, I have 16 uncles and aunts. So
wow, it's a big family.
It's a big family. So I grew up in a very beautiful environment. And family was everything. But I come from very, very humble beginnings.
So you were there for high school, middle school,
till I was 20 in college. I graduated college there.
So you went to college there.
Mm-hmm.
Then what did you study?
I study IT and medical coding.
And medical coding.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where did the interest came from?
Well, my mom is a pharmacist by trade.
Okay.
So she went...
Mine is too, just by opinion. If you ask my mom, she has a recipe for everything.
Yeah, and then from my mom's side, I have a few uncles that are doctors. And then from my dad's side, all the girls actually went to college. The younger ones, the oldest ones didn't. And my grandfather was an entrepreneur. So I always had very good examples of things, but I always thought I wanted to be in the medical field. I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be a nurse. I hate to see blood. I knew that from the very, very early, but I did had an interest on anything that had to do with doing something to help people, right? So for me, I've always liked the interest of business and helping people, so I thought that was the thing that I was going to do. So I went to work in a lab. Yeah. Great
combination. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So you married early in life, didn't you?
I did. 17.
You were 17 when you got married?
Yes.
Wow.
The first time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So and then you got married before you went to college?
Yes. Actually, my wedding was the day before graduation of high school.
What
I didn't go to prom. I went to graduation, but I didn't go to prom. I didn't go to experience all those good things. So yeah.
Very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a probability that, marriage is earlier than 30, doesn't last for actually X period, whatever.
Yeah.
You kind of fit into those statistics, huh?
Yes, I was set up for failure, yeah.
Why?
100%. Well, I didn't marry because I wanted to.
Okay.
I was forced into a marriage.
Got it.
Because of religious reasons, and at that point, I wasn't a virgin anymore. It was a shame to the family, so I was forced into that marriage.
Got it.
And it just, happened. At that moment when I divorced, I was very angry. I didn't understand. But with time, I have understood that if I didn't go through that experience, I probably hadn't built the resilience that I have today, right?
We talk a lot about this, right?
Yes.
These inflection points in life and how to utilize them, as a positive or a negative inflection point.
Yeah, at that moment in time, it's difficult to see the light. But as you grow, as you do the internal work, right, and you start forgiving, going to the trauma, overcoming and understanding those type of situations that happen in life, I think they actually have a more positive impact on who you can become. And you decide what to do with that. You can either feel pity and go in a corner and die and cry, or you can use it to feel your power. And that's kind of what I did. Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah.
So then you're in Puerto Rico for all the college years. Did you start working there?
Yeah. So I actually I worked full time and went to college at night.
Got it.
Because given that I was married, he wasn't a provider. I had to provide for myself. My family cut me off of everything. I didn't get $1, nothing. So I had to work full time.
So you had to grind and pay for school.
I had to grind and pay for school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That built character.
Mm-hmm. And
so now I'm going to make a funny joke here, right? So when did you decide to immigrate to the U.S.?
Well,
because a lot of people don't know this, right? They're like, oh, do Puerto Ricans need a visa? Are you American? How does it work?
So we are born with the American citizenship.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that the process is any different, right? Making a decision to move to the United States was not an easy task.
Okay.
I am very family oriented. My entire world and family was 10 minutes from me. You know?
Right.
I'm gonna eat at my grandma's. I am gonna call my cousins to go to the beach. Right, like everything was there. My
you
world.
guys were all together.
Yep, my world was there, and my family is everything to me. So when I made that decision, I didn't know how hard it was going to be. But I've always been adventurous, and I've always liked change. And for me, I knew I was going through therapy at the moment, because I was divorced at that time. And, I knew that I needed to change my environment in order to get better, in order to achieve the things that I wanted in life. And I couldn't continue to live there because the level of poverty in Puerto Rico is extremely high.
Right.
And I was complacent with average. I didn't fit the mold because I always wanted more. I was never satisfied. And I hated every time someone told me that I needed to be grateful. I was grateful. I was just not satisfied.
That's a good one.
So
being grateful and being satisfied are two different things.
Are two different things.
I'm grateful for what I have, but I know I deserve more.
Right.
And it's totally okay.
Yeah. And
good.
Puerto Ricans, our culture, being greedy, all these things are confused, right?
Latinos, right? In
yeah,
general.
and Latinos.
We don't talk about money.
Yeah, Latinos in general.
We don't talk about Bruno.
We don't.
We don't talk about money.
We don't. And it made me feel like, anyone I talk to, my family or whoever I talk to, it made me feel like I was, like someone will tell me like, you're too greedy or you're too ambitious.
Because it didn't meet me though.
Yeah, they haven't met you yet. That's gonna be a problem when we introduce you over there.
I'm an alien, even in my own family. Guys, I was like, dude.
So I was raised with this mentality that money was bad, that wanting more was bad. I wasn't gonna go to God's kingdom because I wasn't grateful.
You're not given to go to the church.
Yeah, so I needed a change. I needed to leave. I needed something else. I needed to learn something else. I needed to find a place where I could be myself and I could pursue my dreams.
So a beautiful Southside Island girl with the beach and the fruits and everything from all the most amazing warm places you could pick. Massachusetts,
yeah.
How the hell did you get here?
Yeah. So that is a funny story.
You got lost at the airport and you hopped on the wrong
after I got divorced, I think it was like 2 years later,
Yep.
I met who is today my husband.
Right.
And he hated Puerto Rico. He moved there. He was there forced by his family, but he grew up here in Mass.
Right.
And when I met him, he was like, I hate this place. I want to go back home. I always want to go back home. And we always talk about this. And he's like, I'm just going to go back home. And, we had just recently started our relationship. I think it was like maybe 3 months in or something like that. And then an opportunity came up. Someone called him from here, and he waited till I got home, and he told me, I'm leaving. And I was like, bye.
See you later.
I was like, see you later. And then I started visiting here. And I continued my studies. I graduated. I had a great job over there.
So you're going back and forth?
And I'm going back and forth
JetBlue?
every 3 months. No, I don't think at that time there was JetBlue. I couldn't afford JetBlue.
Spirit Airlines.
No, I couldn't afford JetBlue. So the first time it was funny because my mom was like, you're not going over there by yourself. So I had to bring my mom. Like it was that level. Okay. And then the second time I came by myself.
Nice.
The third time it came with both of my parents to drop me off.
Wow.
It was a drop off.
Like, there you go, I'm handing you off.
Even after I've gone through everything I've gone through,
She's still daddy's girl.
adult, living on my own, they were like, we have to drop you off. We have to see where you're going to live. Like, we need to learn, like, who this family is, all of that.
And where did you move to when you came to Massachusetts? Worcester. And then when you got to Massachusetts, right, you had your college degree.
Yeah.
You already had your green card.
Yes. Since birth.
Let's just make it clear, guys. You don't need
it. You need your license. You don't need a passport.
All the good stuff. Nobody have to explain to people.
Yeah, you do.
Don't know.
People still don't know.
People don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you did speak English.
We do speak English. We go.
Isn't that amazing?
A school there is bilingual.
One of the very few bilingual places in the U.S.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
So then you got to Massachusetts, and now you had to put that college degree to work. What did you do? What was the first job?
Yeah, so the deal for me moving here is that I wasn't going to move here unless I had a job. So
so you applied for a job.
I applied for jobs from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
I interviewed over the phone. At that time, I think the most advanced thing was the BlackBerry. And once I got here, I did a final interview on a couple places. And I started working in a lab, which is along the lines of what I studied over there.
What were you doing in the lab?
I actually worked at that time. There was the oil spillage in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
And I was working on the lab, analyzing and processing all the analysis of the samples.
Okay.
So I found a job in a lab analyzing data.
Data entry, that kind of stuff.
Analyzing data, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you, data analytics person. IT.
My other life. My other life.
And how long were you there for?
Unfortunately, only 8 months.
Why did you leave?
I did not leave. It wasn't an involuntary termination.
Okay.
The lab was moving operations to California.
Wow.
And I decided to stay.
So you decided... Yeah, I mean, that would have been crazy. Imagine from Puerto Rico to Cali. They'll be like, nope, too far.
No, that was too much change for me to quit.
And then...
No job. So I had to start looking. In the meantime, I took a job, just like everybody else. I worked at Walmart.
Okay.
I cleaned houses.
Wow.
I took care of kids. And I was giving Spanish lessons to kids that
I didn't know.
Yeah, I know.
See, if anyone at BRZ needs...
I know. I worked in Walmart for a very long time doing night shifts. But I was able to find a job real quick at Liberty Mutual.
Oh, that's how you got the Liberty Mutual gig.
Yes, that's how. That's how.
And All right, so this is cool. So this is how your insurance life begins.
That's where my insurance life begins. I ended up my career on, the lab. I gave up on that life. It really wasn't fulfilling. Like I was just processing data, and it was just like boring to me. So I always need to be doing something, and that was just more of the same.
I can't see you behind the desk processing data.
I know, right?
I know you insist in doing that sometimes, but no.
Yeah, I mean, I like it when I have to do it and it's necessary for our success. Yeah. But it's not something that I can do 24/7, right?
No.
So,
personality-wise, it's not you.
Yeah. So that's where I got to Liberty. I got a job quick. It wasn't like more than a month.
Oh, so you just did a gig here and there, and then you got hired at Liberty.
Well, while I was at Liberty at night, I still kept my other gigs because I didn't have anything else to do. I didn't have kids.
So you're still working at Walmart?
I was still working at Walmart at night.
And what was your role at Liberty Mutual? What were you doing?
So over there, when I got into Liberty, was on the research center. And I was doing more of the data customer service, but I was hired to handle the event and marketing part of the center. Mm-hmm. So I was in charge of putting together, for example, if there were visits that were coming from all parts of the world, researchers, doctors, CEOs and stuff, I will get all the paperwork together. I will get all the research together. I will set up, the presentations. I will do all of that they call it customer service inside the research center. But it was more like a marketing assisting position for researchers. And there I assisted them with putting together skid driver lessons or, other stuff that was done there that is, you never think that is insurance. Because basically I was inside a place where the rules of insurance were being made by the research done based on analytics and people.
Yes.
Right? Like they were testing people, ergonomics, things like that. So I got to learn insurance from a very different perspective.
And then
I'm not a PhD candidate. So I will forever be grateful to my mentor, and I will always be grateful to him. His name is Mr. Ian Noy.
Okay.
He was the director of the center and the person who hired me.
Uh-huh.
And he actually took me under his wing.
Okay.
And he, he was Canadian.
Okay.
So with my broken English and everything at that time, because even though I was completely bilingual in Massachusetts, you speak very differently. Mm-hmm. He was like, he always believed in me, and he told me that I had so much potential. And he had a timeline for me. He's like, you're going to work here for a certain period of time and you're going to go.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we did. When I felt I was ready and I had learned enough about insurance, I asked him for a recommendation, and he recommended me to work at what they call the mothership, which is home office here in Boston. And that's how I got into the other side of insurance by their help, their recommendation.
And what were you doing on this home office, on this mother office?
But there I did a rotation. I did sales.
Okay.
I did service.
All right.
I went to claims.
Okay.
I literally learned the entire business inside and out. And I was there for from the beginning and when I started to when I left, about 7 years or so.
So within 7 years, you were rotating inside Liberty Mutual, learning all the trade.
Yeah.
And then you had everything lined up for you to grow in a very stable company.
Yes.
Beautiful benefits, health insurance, dental insurance, eye insurance, back insurance, hair insurance, all kinds of insurance.
401k, right?
401k, the whole thing. And
Yes.
then you leave to join a scrappy startup.
Yeah. And that was a very difficult decision.
Okay.
Because my daughter was only two. She was 2.5 years old.
Wow, she was 2.5 when you
Yeah.
joined. When you
Yes.
left a stable job where you had a
Right.
perfect time lined
Yeah.
up to pick her up, drop her off.
Diapers, daycare, and milk was very expensive. And I was like, well, I'm changing.
Wow. So you joined a Liberty Mutual group, a crew.
Yes. So some of the coworkers
Okay.
and my really good friend Anthony is
Yeah.
too. That's his name. He is like, this might sound crazy, but I think it will be a good opportunity for all of us. Why don't we go? And I was like, well, why don't you go first, and then
Let me know what happens.
Yeah, let me know what happens, and I'll keep in touch and see.
I know what type of personality you are, who moved my cheese.
Right. So, and that's exactly what I did. They
You waited a
went,
little bit.
I waited a little bit.
Sounds like you.
I saw that, everything was okay. I learned about the purpose. And honestly, I am not a person that can be on status quo.
Okay.
I always need to be working on something and learning something new and challenging my mind. And I was a little bored because I felt like I have done what I needed to do. And even though I was with a company that I could continue to grow, growth within companies take a very long time.
Right.
10 years, 15 years. So I was like, well, jumping ship, bye. And I didn't have a job description. All I knew was I was going to get paid and that I needed to build something from scratch that I had no idea how to do.
Yeah.
But I was up for the challenge and I knew I had the capacity to do it.
That's an important part.
I knew my industry, so let's do it. But the independent side was new.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. So it took...
But hold on a second.
yeah.
For some people, they might not even know what is
Yeah.
independent. What do you
Right.
mean independent? Means that
Right.
you could be on your own?
Right. So in insurance, there is a lot of different ways that you can work in insurance, right?
Okay.
There is the corporate side, which I was.
Okay.
Then there is the independent side, which means, it's what BRC has. It's
Okay.
we are an independent agent that has the accessibility of various carriers, right?
So basically, you represent a bunch of
We represent a bunch of companies, but we're here for the customer, right? Right. So we work for the customer.
Okay.
And then you have the captive agents that somewhat are like independent agents, but they work for the company. They don't work for the consumer. So there is very different.
So when you
various
see a Geico
things.
flag, State Farm, Allstate, and all of those, they're focused on the company, not on the
They focus
consumer.
on the company, not on the consumer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good.
So I was excited that I got to build something that was focused on the consumer experience. And for me, as a I think I was 20. Well, I don't want to age myself, but I was on my mid-20s.
Okay.
And someone my age to have the opportunity to join something, to be part of something, to build something from scratch was more exciting than any type of salary that I could make.
I tell this to young people all the time.
Yes.
The best way to
worth
learn,
it.
I tell this to young people all the time, the best way to learn is for you to learn with someone else's money.
Exactly, because the mistakes are not your
Nope.
your money
It
is
is.
somebody else's. So for me, the idea of at such a young age being able to be part of something that could be greater than I was already part of,
Yeah.
and made it look like me, sound like me, influence it, part of the decision making, I was all for it.
Wow.
I was all for it.
And what did you do there?
A little bit of everything,
Yeah.
from scanning, letters to selling to, so when I initially joined, it was only, I think it was 5 of us the most. And we all did everything, right? Because we are starting. It's a definite, you're going through a definition and building processes and what is that we need to do. And that's a new thing. We didn't know we had to do that. So we got to build a process for that, right? But for the beginning, the first year or two, I was extremely focused on sales because we needed to make money in order to add more staff. So I actually, I did sales, and I did sales during the day and I scanned paperwork during the night, right? So basically we kind of all shipped in the initial crew and did what needed to get done in order to make that dream happen.
To make that thing happen.
Yeah.
And then you were there for how long?
7 years.
For 7 years. You guys went from 0 to how many clients?
Oh, mine. I think we had at one point 20,000, 20,000 clients or so.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Huge.
Yeah.
Because what, $30 million, $40 million in premium?
Kind of.
Wow.
Yeah. At the end. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I've heard of Monica Adwani. I still remember to this day. I remember I was and this is how our lives cross path, right?
Yeah.
I went to the conference, the big event, they call it the big event, right?
The big event.
The big event. Yeah, it's the big event of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
By Maya. And you were one, or the only one who got the annual award, the Young Agent of the Year.
Yeah, that was very surprising.
Yeah.
But I had a great team around me, and they nominated me for that. I was leading a beautiful and very hardworking team. But, the most surprising thing, it was the first time that a Latina and a woman won that award.
Wow.
In this state. And I am forever grateful. My friend, good friend, we're still good friends today, Heather. She wasn't supposed to tell me anything, but she knew how I was with like my outfits and my stilettos and everything. And she's like, I have to tell you something.
You're going to get something. Get ready, girl.
We nominated you for something you won and you have to dress up. And I was like, oh my God, when is this happening? And she was like, tomorrow. And I'm like, no. So it was an amazing experience. And I think it opened the door to feel more empowered to make change happen. And to have a voice for younger people in this industry, just because it has never
not just
been
younger people,
accomplished.
Younger brown people.
Younger brown people, people that look like me and sounded like me, because this industry is nothing like that.
That was me.
Yeah,
I had 3 years.
I didn't know who you were.
It's okay. Nobody, not even I knew who I was back then. I'm still figuring out who am I. Once I find out, I'll let you know. That's a work in progress.
Figuring it out.
So the thing is, I saw your name and I said, wow, one day I'm going to be just like her and I'm going to work with her. And I had 3 years of agency. We're building this thing up, limited resources. And I said, one day I'm going to work with you.
Yeah.
And I didn't even tell you. I went to you. I said, congratulations. I didn't even remember me. I was like, so proud of you. Great job. And I'm like, we're going to work together one day. You don't know that yet. And it is amazing. Who's that? Right? So a few months later, I found out that your company was sold.
Yes.
I was like, what?
Yes.
See?
We were blindsided.
That's the power of envisioning. I called that. I was like, yes, one day.
Yeah.
And God expedited the process.
Yes. So, like and I think we've now that we are partners, we've talked about this a lot.
Business partners.
Business partners. Everybody
Latino,
thinks,
one day.
Yeah. So, I mean,
this is the funny one.
Let's make that clarification, because everybody thinks we're married.
Yes.
And we're not married.
We're not married.
Because I keep
Sorry,
saying,
Anthony.
I keep saying my partner.
Because we go to events, this is my partner. I was like,
yeah. And I need to learn how to say business partner. But, we're like brothers and sisters.
My BP, let's make it easy.
Yeah,
Latino.
No, but it's all clear,
So then you're in that transition period. The agency got acquired.
Yes. It got acquired. I stayed there for about a year, facilitating.
You still stayed there for a year.
Facilitating that transition. And it was unfortunate, right? I never saw myself leaving,
Right.
which is great. Like you want that in people.
You want people in
your
those
people
places.
to, like, we want our people to be here forever, right? That's a great thing. But unfortunately, I did not do things right.
What do you mean by that?
And what I mean by that is that, you know, at the time of the acquisition, everything that I had agreed with the prior owners was no longer effective.
Why?
And I never got that in writing.
Ooh, so it was saliva only.
Exactly.
We've learned one thing in management, right?
Yes.
If it's not in writing,
Yeah.
it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Learn that. If it's not in writing,
It
it doesn't exist.
So that was a rookie mistake.
Okay.
You know, I learned my lesson. As you know, that hurt a little bit my trust in people.
Okay.
And it took me some time to recover from that. But I think that as a business owner and as an executive, or, you know, if you're just starting in your career, paperwork is everything. Paperwork is everything. As far as in writing, and everybody's clear and all the parties have agreed, you got a deal. So I think, you know, my lesson was like, you know, you can be beautiful, you could be my brother, you could be my mom, my uncle, but if we're doing something together, here is the piece of paper.
Yep.
And I need it clear and I need it in writing. So,
So 12
that was
months later, you vowed, you left.
that was a very expensive
Angry?
mistake. Angry, very angry.
And then you went to another,
disappointed.
and then you got recruited by another agency, right?
Right. So I took a 2-month sabbatical, actually.
Oh, so you did.
I did.
Went to Puerto Rico?
No, I went to Texas. I went to Austin. My best friend lives there, who you
Okay.
know.
Okay.
You know, I took a sabbatical. I stayed home. That was in the middle of the pandemic. It wasn't so much that you could do.
Oh, okay.
So I went, but I still went to Texas. And when I came back, I didn't know what I wanted to do. But the beauty of it is that I had built a reputation in an ethical, good career that I never had to apply for a job. My phone was ringing. People were inviting me to coffees and all of that. And I decided to join a really good, very established agency here in Mass that needed my help with establishing their sales and marketing force.
Okay.
But and I stayed there for, I think it was a year.
Close to a year, right?
Almost. No, it was more than a year. It was a year and change.
Okay.
But since I was used to the rapid pace, to the change, I'm implementing quick. Sometimes, you know, inside the independent agency, you have
The traditional.
you have the startups and you have the traditional
Yep.
agencies, and it wasn't my place. We both, the owner and I, recognized that it wasn't a good place for me to be.
It wasn't a cultural fit.
It wasn't a cultural fit.
And that's the important thing, right?
Yes.
Cultural fits everything in business.
It's everything.
And it's totally fine. You can have all the experience, all the knowledge,
Right.
but if you don't fit culturally, guess what? You
Yeah.
just don't belong there.
Right.
That's it.
And it's difficult, you know, communication.
It's difficult to accept.
Yes.
You know why? I think a cultural fit is the most challenging thing because you like the work, you like the person, but the person doesn't sink in. And it's like, you know, accepting that and walking away from it without hard feelings.
Yeah.
It is a mature thing.
Yeah, and the
It requires
integration.
maturity.
And the integration, you know, the longevity too plays a role.
Yeah.
When you have people that have been working in one place for 10, 20, 25 years.
And now you got this Puerto
And
Ricans
then you
coming in and
place
telling
a
you what to do.
youngster with less years experience and, you know,
It's hard.
different culture in it. The integration was really hard. But I'm happy to say we were able to make some traction and put that agency in good traction. But it was
Until I found you.
until I was invited to lunch.
I was like, I think it's time. I was like, this is it. Hey, Monica.
Yep. I was like, oh, we're going to have lunch. Perfect. Let's go.
Or start spending time together on the board. Start hanging out with you.
Yeah, I actually
start poking you and be like, hey, man, what are you doing?
I was like, man, can you shut up? Like, I don't know what he wants. You know, like you were poking me so much. And I was like, I don't want to hang out.
Every board meeting, I'm like, yo, what are you doing with your life?
I remember getting upset. I was like, why is he this way? Like, can he just like chill?
Leave me alone?
Like, leave me alone. Like, I've done nothing to you. I don't know you.
But, you know, I couldn't see you, like, hurting yourself the way you were. Like, hey, man, you know, I got something better for you.
Oh, my God. But I know you were just playing. Now I understand afterwards that
I was recruiting you.
And you were planting a seed, right? You were like, oh, but you should be focusing on this. Or with everything you're doing, you should be doing that. And I was like, who asked for his opinion? You know, like, anybody asking for his opinion? No. So I don't know why he's saying all these things, but you know.
Every board meeting we've met, I was like, hey, you know, I planted a little bit of seed. The next board meeting, I would water a little bit. And then one beautiful day, I said, you know what? Lunchtime.
Yes.
I invited you for lunch.
Yeah.
And, you know, I brought you. Actually, you brought me to a beautiful Worcester downtown restaurant, the Korean place.
The Korean place, still there.
I gotta go back.
Better food now.
We gotta celebrate our anniversary.
Yes.
Our business partners' anniversary.
Business anniversary. You see, this is why people think we're married. Yeah. But you know, no, we do. It's 3 years.
3 years
coming up.
So we sat down at the restaurant, and you know, I proposed to you.
Yeah.
I said, hey, you know, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Along those lines, right?
Yes. I remember you were
what were you expecting when I invited you?
Always like with inspiring arms, like, so what is that you want to do?
What's your calling?
What do you want to be doing? Do you think you're spending your time in the things that you have the potential to do? Like things like that.
But when I invited you for lunch, what were you expecting?
I was only expecting a conversation of, since I had experience and you were just starting, I thought you just wanted to talk about how to get into the next step. I swear to God, that's what I thought.
That's what you thought. You thought I was reaching out to you for consulting.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's it.
And then halfway through lunch, what did you receive?
A business partner proposal that I was not expecting at all. I was like, what? Okay, I'm on board, but we need to talk this over.
But but this is very important, guys.
It is really important.
Let me set you guys up for this, right? She made herself credible, reputable, and tested. Mm-hmm. She had the language skills. She had the knowledge, the capability, and the abilities and the aptitude we needed. Mm. I've noticed that through coexisting with Monica, and I knew that I needed to recruit her. So just like CIA recruits people, it took some time.
Yeah.
I went on seducing her professionally, making her question herself.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
Made you question yourself, question your loyalty, question your career, question a lot of things. And this is a slow-moving bus.
Yes, it was very slow for us.
Yeah.
Because I had that trust issue. Yeah. Remember we talked about that?
But I never approached you and I said, let's make this happen right now.
No, that would have never worked.
Right.
That would have never worked.
But, you know, at a beautiful day, I sat down with you and I said, hey, you know what? How about you get a seat on the table? Instead of building something for people, why don't we build something for ourselves?
Yes. Yeah, and I think it's very important.
Timing.
Yeah, timing is important, but I think people need to understand that relationships is everything.
Right.
We weren't best friends.
No.
We weren't friends at all.
No.
We were just two professionals coexisting and actually learning from each other.
Right.
Because even though at those board meetings we went like, you know, not Tiago, but this, but what that? We were learning from each other.
And we were agreeing a lot of things and over-delivering.
And disagreeing in a lot of them, too. And I think what people make the mistake on is on not exploring relationships with people that they don't agree fully with.
Right.
because those are the most magical ones. And
they're complementable.
Exactly. And I think, you know, as professionals or as a young professional, the most wise thing that you can do is to meet your opposite.
100%.
Is to meet your opposite.
Sometimes it drives me crazy. That's Rodolfo, you know, but like that's a whole different. I like the opposite, but not too opposite, Rodolfo.
Yeah.
Not too opposite, bro. Borderline, you know.
Yes. We're all very different. We're all very different,
and that's the beauty of it.
And we've become a family. We've become friends. But we weren't there.
No.
Day one.
No, we're not.
We weren't there.
No.
Yeah. So it's been a magical experience.
Then time passed by, things went on, and I invited you that day, and you said yes. Mm-hmm. But there was a caveat to it, right?
Yes.
I basically said...
Partners didn't know.
I invited you out. I offered you partnership. My business partners didn't know that I was actually talking to you.
Right.
I actually had to buy in. I needed your buy-in first.
So
I was like, all right, now she's in. I had to go back into my office and convince my other two business partners. I was like, hey, man, she's in.
Yeah.
And now these guys are like, what do you mean I'm going to give up equity to this person that I don't even know? And Monica was like, your guys are going to rob me again. Like, no way, you know, like I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
It was like, and for about 6 months.
6 months.
After that.
We negotiated.
We went on a dancing part.
Yeah.
Where we're dancing and learning and you're spending time with us.
Yes.
Building trust until you made the leap and you said, you know what? This is for me.
It was a mutual learning moment, right? Because I wanted to know what was under the hood just to see if I could make it work because I wasn't going to set myself for failure. And then you know, Rod and Simar understanding who I was and that I had the skill to make it happen, right? So it was like dating. It was dating.
And that's what I said. It was like, you know, let's date first before we got married.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we had a prenup.
Yes.
Just in case.
A very strong prenup. And it worked out very well. The prenup expired. And that's the beauty of it. Yes.
So, but I think the takeaway, what people should know is that you have to deliver first.
Yeah.
Right?
You do. You got to prove yourself.
You got to put the time in. You got to put the equity. You got to put the effort. You got to put the blood, the sweat, and tears. And you did that. And you lost it. And you went elsewhere. And then you came back and look where you are today.
Yes. Never thought I would be here.
And, you know, the funny thing is, you know, I knew you would be here way before you did it.
Yeah.
And my insight for anyone watching this right now is set your goals. You know, visualize it. I visualized this happening one day and, you know, hence we're here today.
Right.
And it all starts with the vision. You have to have a clear vision of what you want.
I completely agree. I think when I took those 2 months off, it was a lot of searching of where do I want to be?
Right.
What do I want my contributions to be? Do you really like this industry? Should you explore something new? You know, because I've spent 14 years of my life building something for someone else, not for me.
Right.
So I never dreamed of me,
right?
I had achieved financial success, all these things, great, but I was back to zero.
How have I impacted you over the last 2 years? When it comes to this, because I've met you, you had this issue.
When you met me, yeah. Thank God for therapy. Therapy is very powerful. No, but I think, you know, at the beginning, those experiences, it was very difficult because I was with the three of you. I knew somewhat, and Simar and Rod, I didn't know them.
Right.
So I didn't trust them.
Right.
The trust was not there mutually.
Mutually.
Neither they trusted me or I trusted them.
And this is key, right? Because trust comes with coexisting.
Yeah.
And you guys didn't coexist. How can you trust someone that you don't coexist?
Exactly. So it took a lot of strength and emotional intelligence in order to build that trust, not with the group, but with the entire organization.
Yeah, because you came in and you didn't know Portuguese.
not only that, I feel I didn't fit in because, BRC has been focused on the Brazilian community since
a lot
day
of foreign licenses that you were not used to.
Yeah, and I'm like, what is this process? Why do we do this way? Like, it's such an easy way to do this. So I didn't know the consumer. I didn't know the team.
I remember when you came into the office for the first time.
My head wanted to explode, right? So I think the most important thing that I had to do was having the humility to say, no matter how many years of experience you have, here you're going to have to strip down and build back up and understand what is that you need to learn and do.
Yep. I have to start over again.
I got to start over. Once I know, then I can implement what I know. Right? So, and I think that's where a lot of leaders fail, is that they think they know everything on that because they have
Especially if they have an MBA.
And they impose, they impose.
Yeah,
they impose.
No, they have an MBA. It's like they know everything.
You cannot do that.
I got an MBA now. I can change your company.
So here I am with an entire clientele that I couldn't communicate with. A team that had meetings and I didn't understood one bit of what was being said.
It took
and
you going to
I'm on a C-level partner position, unable to communicate with anyone. So I was like, do you really think that they're going to adjust to you, or is it easier for you to adjust to them and go from there? So that's where I started. I started with Google Translate. I was like, okay, let me start saying what I want to say by message.
Yeah.
And then I started adjusting my ear and spending my entire day, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. in the office, listening to the clients, listening to the conversations and adjusting my ear. And today I have to say I'm not perfect, but, we run our entire company in 3 different languages.
Isn't it amazing?
And it's been great. So
the willingness to evolve, to change, to put the extra work, to go the extra mile. You have to adjust.
You have to adjust. So I think that was the most important thing. And then, trust came by me understanding that I had to change my ways in order to make myself adaptable to the environment. So
100%. That's the key insight for who's following us.
Yeah.
How proud of you of what you've helped us to build over the last 3 years? Almost 3.
Almost 3. I mean,
how do you feel?
I don't know. It's being able to touch every single life, not just from our clients, but our team, right? I don't like calling anyone employees because we're a team. The people that we impact through podcasts and stuff like that, I think it's a unimaginable dream that I'm living every single day.
Yeah.
I don't go to work.
Right.
I do what I do because I have to, and I like it, and I love it, and I
love it too.
Everybody says, why you smile so much?
Yep.
You're never upset. Like, I do get upset, but I love what I do, so why ruin my happiness? But I think it's I'm walking a life that I never thought it was possible.
Right.
And even though we have our challenges, it's really hard on a daily basis. I don't picture myself doing anything else.
That's awesome. I feel the same way. I'm not as a big fan of the insurance industry as you are. I have my pet peeves with the APIs and the data that is just not available. I think that's why. Sometimes I get angry. I'm like, why can't this be just a little damn easier? And I was like, if it were to be easier, we wouldn't exist, right?
Exactly.
It is my love-hate. Yeah. I love the industry. I hate the systems.
I think that's a true statement. I think I can agree with you.
I love the industry. I hate the systems.
Yeah.
If you're like, Tiago, would you do it again? I was like, no. Because it's like it's a slow moving bus. The thing doesn't evolve. It doesn't change.
Yes.
And, there's another thing too. Being the only brown people in the room, sometimes it's
hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. I mean,
it's hard.
You have, it's like we always tell everybody, you have to work 150% harder than everyone else, just because it's almost like you have to demonstrate that you are worth something.
Oh, yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but it's true.
Oh, yeah.
In our years combined in the industry, we have over 20 years of experience. We, have had more success than agencies that been around for 60, 50, 40 years.
How many 20 combined? How many years do you have?
Well, right now, 16.
Yours, right?
17.
So Rod, Simar, and I, 3 times 7, 21, plus 16, we have 47 years.
47 years of experience together. Yeah. And we still have to sometimes say, like, this is why I'm here.
Yeah, 37 years of experience, not 47. Don't
37,
exaggerate.
20? Well, yeah, because you guys are like...
21 plus 16,
21
37.
Plus 16.
She's lying, guys, but I caught it.
What did I say? 47?
You're aging
We're not
me.
that... Well, you can
Look,
go
47?
for 47. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I need Botox. But all right,
Just kidding. I'm
so
just kidding.
concluding right now.
Yes.
I think we've gotten to a great place. I think we got a lot to share, with the crowd out there. Why should people join this bus? BRZ is growing. It's growing in a lot of states. We're going to rebrand. By the time this podcast come out, our new logo might be out there and a new brand. I'm just kidding. No, it's going to take a little longer. But we're looking for you.
Yes.
You that are watching this right now. Yes, you right there, sitting on that couch, sitting in your car. Maybe you're going to work and you're listening to this, and you're bilingual. You're Hispanic, you're Brazilian, and you love to sell, and you love making money, but you also love helping people. This place is for you. But I'm not going to tell you why you belong here. I'm going to let Monica. Why should they join us?
Why? Well, for me, the why is simple. Is having a piece of history, saying that you were part of history.
Wow.
That's my why. I am here to make history, and that I know that might sound a little greedy or a little over the top.
But it's not.
But it's not, because
we're training the next generation of Latinos for this industry.
We are, and we really want to make a difference, and we are.
And we will.
A difference.
And we are, and we will, and
So, you want to make history? This is the place.
This is the bus. Hop on this bus.
This is it.
That's awesome. Monica, this was an amazing exchange. I think we can have an episode 2.
Yes.
In 24 months, because a lot will change.
Yes.
I loved your personal story. Southside girl. Now I know how to call you.
That's gonna be the name of the book, Monica.
Southside
girl.
Yeah, Southside girl. There you go. I got the topic. You see how do we brainstorm?
Yeah, we're gonna mark it here.
And also learning these challenges, how you overcame them, and there's so much more about your life that people will find out on her book. So stay tuned, that she's going to release it. This is just the intro. Thank you so much for sharing with me, for these amazing smiles. Right now, as we come to an end, as you look into that camera right there, and you see that younger version of you on the South Side at the age of 16, 17, if you could tell her one piece of advice, if you could send her a pill of message a few years back, what would you tell her?
I will tell her that no one has the capacity to build her future but her own.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. And now that you have a beautiful family, now you're building an amazing business. I'm so happy to have you. by my side. I told you that
I'm grateful.
I know that I don't leave you anymore. We're stuck. You know, you might get angry with me, but you know, you ain't going anywhere. And you've seen quite a lot, and this podcast has a thesis, and I cannot end it without asking that question. What is the definition of wealth to Monica?
My definition of wealth is freedom. It's the ability to have the time and the ability to help others.
Nice.
I think, wealth is not about just money. It's about being rich inside and giving. So I think my definition of wealth is having the capacity, the financial capacity to have freedom to help others and give back.
That's awesome. Monica, thank you. This was dope. You rock. Guys, this was a very unusual podcast. As I said, bilingual, trilingual, started in Portuguese, ended in English. Muchas gracias. Encantada com esse podcast. Ahora termina em espanhol. And I cannot finish this without thanking each BRZ client. Eu não consigo encerrar isso aqui sem agradecer cada consumidor da BRZ. É por causa de você que a gente consegue construir esse episódio bizarro em 3 línguas, com muito conteúdo. Espero que você possa traduzir, evoluir, aprender com a gente. E claro, eu tenho que agradecer também a Volpone Media, que faz um trabalho sensacional com a qualidade de vídeo, com o marketing, que está transformando a forma que as empresas brasileiras comunicam aqui na terra do Tio Sam. So, if you need a media company to help you to market to bilingual clients, reach out to Volpone Media. The link is right down there. These guys know how to get you in front of the bilingual consumer, Portuguese and Spanish speakers. So, with that being said, thank you.
Thank
and
you.
see you in the next episode.